Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jessica. Today I am finally filming an update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. I've missed a month of updates, so it's now been 2 months since my last update back in March. But life has gotten in the way of some of my filming and I'm just doing the best I can, but I'm very excited to be here to update this video and finally bring some new eyeshadows into this project. And of course that means I have some new pans to share with you today. So if you're interested in seeing my progress in this project for the past couple months, definitely stay tuned. And if you are new here and just discovering me, please consider subscribing. If you like panning content or eyeshadow content, or just you like me, please stick around. I would love to have you as part of my YouTube community. Let's jump right into this video. If you've been around the panning community for a while, it goes without saying that this is a very popular panning project amongst us eyeshadow panners. It was created by Alexi here on YouTube, and she doesn't post content anymore, I don't think, but it's really taken off and a lot of people do it in their own style. I myself have my own rules. In my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, I'm always working on 5 eyeshadows at a time. 2 of those eyeshadows I randomly generate. 2 of them I use a series of prompts from Makeup by Lanies, so it kind of allows me to have a little bit more control over 2 of the eyeshadows that come in. And then one of those eyeshadows is an eyeshadow that already has pan on it, and so I'm expanding the pan on that eyeshadow. And that inspiration came from Dora from Fuschia Soul here on YouTube. So that is how I do my project. Of course my ultimate goal is to hit pan on these shades, but if I use them at least 30 times over the course of at least 3 months and I still have not hit pan on an eyeshadow, then I do allow myself to roll that shadow out and bring in something new. And with my expand that pan, I just have a 5 use goal on that eyeshadow shade. If I use it a few more times, great, but ultimately I'm just trying to get use on eyeshadows that already have pan on them and get them to just be ever so lightly bigger. I think that's all I have as far as housekeeping goes, so now we are ready to jump in this video and talk about my 5 eyeshadows. Starting off with the first shade, this is a single shock shadow from ColourPop and the shade 10 out of 10. It's a beautiful silver eyeshadow and I've really been enjoying reaching for it. It's one of the last remaining eyeshadows in my collection yet to have pan on it, which is why I was excited to bring it into this project. There is the swatch of 10 out of 10 and I have absolutely fallen in love with this shade. It has been so much fun to play with and it can really pull quite neutral but also adds a lot of specialness to different eyeshadow looks for a more bold look, and I just absolutely love, love, love a silver eyeshadow. Here's what this shadow was looking like all the way back in January when I first brought it into this project. You could still see the embossing of the number 10 on the surface of this shadow. I reached for it 3 times during the first month, and here's what it was looking like in February after those 3 uses. In the second month, I reached for it 6 additional times, making for 9 uses total, and here is what it was looking like as of last update. It had a little dip starting to form, and then in the past 2 months, I should say, since March, I reached for an additional 7 times, making for 16 uses total, and here's what 10 out of 10 is looking like today. And I hope you are able to see that we do have a nice little shiny pan on this little corner here of the eyeshadow. It's hard to tell being a silver shadow and a silver pan, but the pan is there. And I'm very happy that I was able to get such great use on this shadow and just absolutely fall in love with it. The formula of the Super Shock shadow is still beautiful and creamy. This is definitely my newest Super Shock shadow in my collection. It's the Ultra Glitter formula and it has just been a delight to reach for. This I got for free for ColourPop's 10-year anniversary. They sent it as a gift with purchase, so a great value for a product that I really love, and I'm super happy to have a pan on it and very excited also to be rolling it out and starting with something fresh. But I will remember to reach for this single shadow. Falling in love with it so much the way that I have, it is a standout in my collection. Next shadow comes from my Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette, and this has also been in my project since January, and I brought this into the project using one of Lanies' prompts where I had generated a shadow from your favorite palette. So this is definitely up there as far as my favorite palettes go, but I randomly generated the shade that came in, and that is a very dark gray, grayish taupe matte shade called Precious. There is the swatch of Precious, and you can see it is almost like a browny, purplish, grayish taupe shade. It really pulls a lot of different colors depending on what you're pairing it with, but it's been a really nice matte to work with, a very pretty cool toned matte. and it's been fun to reach into. Here's what Precious was looking like when I first brought it into the project in January. It had a slight disturbance, but not much use at all. I reached for it 9 times during the first month, and here is what it was looking like then after those 9 uses. Probably not much of a difference after just 9 uses. I reached for it 14 more times in the second month, making for 23 uses total, and here's what it was looking like then. Had a dip starting to form in there, but no pan yet. But in the past 2 months, I was able to reach for it 9 additional times, making for 32 uses total. And here's what Precious is looking like today. And as you can see, we have a nice little pan going on that shade. I was not expecting to hit pan on this, so it was a very happy surprise when I did. These mattes are very firmly pressed, very pigmented, and difficult to hit pan on. So it was a very pleasant surprise, and I am just so excited to have a pan that I can share with all of you, add to my pan percentage, and roll out for a new shade. Always happy to get great use on this palette. It's so gorgeous. I definitely reached into a few of these other shades while it was in my project over the past several months, and I just fall in love with it over and over and over again. So very happy to have had this around, but it's going to take a little break, and we're bringing in something new, which is kind of perfect because this is not the most spring summer palette. So let's retire her, see her again in those cooler months when I'm loving the cool tones, and bring in something fresh. So that is my second pan to share with you for this update. The next shadow comes from my ColourPop Frozen 2 Elsa palette, and I've been working on the shade in here called Northern Lights, which is a beautiful pink shade with some gorgeous iridescent shifts to it. And there is Northern Lights in the swatch. It is such a pretty pink, very easy to wear, has a nice little hint of, you know, duochrome, trichrome to it, which makes it feel a little bit more special, but still really easy to reach for. This shade was randomly generated into this project 2 months ago, back in March. Here's what it was looking like when I first brought it into the project. Since March, I've reached for it 12 times, and that is over the last 2 months, and here's what it's looking like today. So I think we have a nice little dip formed in that shade, but no pan yet. But I am not worried about hitting pan on this shade whatsoever. I know it's gonna come, and it's gonna come pretty easily. If I can reach for this 12 or 15 times, maybe even less before the next update, I think I will have a pan to share with you, which would be perfect because that would be my 3rd month of having it in this project. So I'm really going to try and reach for this more regularly in the next couple weeks, and hopefully have a pan to share with you on that one next month. But for now, it's staying in, and I'm very excited to reach for it more. I do have this shade on my look today. I have a few different eyeshadows on my lid, but Northern Lights is the main one in the middle part of my lid. I have a pink shimmer from my Too Faced Sweet Peach palette on the inner part of my lid here, and then I have a brown shimmer on the outer crease, but Northern Lights is what is dominating the middle part of my lid there. So hopefully you're able to see a little display of it up close. I love it. I'm gonna keep wearing it. Excited to have it in my project. I absolutely love this palette from ColourPop. It's one of my favorites in my collection. Shade number 4 is another one that came from Lanies Prompt. It was a shadow from my least favorite palette, and though I love all of my palettes, there's definitely ones that I love more than others, and one that has been on the chopping block for quite a few years, but I still love it enough to keep it around, is this one from Alamar Cosmetics. This is the Reina del Caribe palette, and since I had to choose an eyeshadow palette that's not my favorite, I decided to allow myself to select the shadow that I wanted to work on. So I selected this really pretty yellow color right here called Cocoa Taxi. There's Cocoa Taxi up close in the swatch. It's like a really great mustardy yellow, almost like, it reminds me of macaroni and cheese type color yellow, and it's just been a perfect transition shade for this time of year, and it will continue to be into the summer months. Here's what Cocoa Taxi was looking like when I brought it into the project in March. It probably didn't have much of a dip on it at all. These are very densely packed, very pigmented matte shades, so I knew it was going to be a big challenge for me to make any significant progress on. I reached for it 22 times since March, and here's what it's looking like today. So there definitely is a slight little dip starting to form on this shadow, but nothing very dramatic. It is, again, very densely packed. I'm using a big fluffy brush on this since I am using it as a transition shade most times. So it probably is not going to get a pan with 30 uses, but I'm just going to reach for it as much as I can between now and next update. I'll definitely hit that 30 use goal. That will be my then 3rd month of reaching for it. So probably without a pan, it will be rolling out, but we'll see what progress I can do. I'll do the best I can if I can reach for it 10, 15, maybe even 20 more times before that update. That would be amazing. It pairs perfectly with my Pan That palette this year, so it hasn't been a challenge to reach for whatsoever. And I'm just happy that this palette is getting some use because I hardly reach for it, especially not the mattes. I'm always reaching for the shimmers on this palette, so it's nice to give these mattes some attention. And Cocoa Taxi is a great one. This really is a great palette, and it reminds me why I keep it around. So that one is going to be staying in for at least one more month. And the last eyeshadow in this project is the eyeshadow that already has a pan on it. So that one came from my ABH Jackie Aina palette, and I've been working on one of my favorite shades in here to expand, Zam. There is Zam in the swatch. It could not be any more sparkly. It's a beautiful bronze color. It adds a lot of sparkle to any eyeshadow look, and it's very neutral color, easy to wear, and I've absolutely loved working on it. Here's what Zam was looking like when I brought it into the project in March. Again, it already had a pan on it, but a pretty small pan. I mean, not the hugest pan in the world. For all of my Expand Those pans, I try to reach for them 5 times. This one I was able to reach for 7 times, and here's what it's looking like today. So I definitely think that with those 7 uses, the pan will be larger, maybe just a little bit larger, but larger all the same. And I'm just happy to be able to reach into that shade again because I love it so much. It's definitely a highlight of this palette as a whole for me, and I love this palette so much, but there's definitely some shades in here that I don't love to reach for, and so it was a delight to have my absolute favorite shade from this palette in this project. So that one also will be rolling out, and we'll get to expand another pan very soon when I randomly generate a new one. Those are all the eyeshadows that I've been working on, and this is normally the part of my video where I love to share some of my favorite eyeshadow looks that I've created using my Pan Those Eyeshadows palette. However, I've been a very lazy, naughty girl over the past several months, hence the missed updates, and also hence the lack of pictures that I have to share with you. I have also been doing just a lot of very boring, very run-of-the-mill, neutral, wham bam, thank you ma'am type of eyeshadow looks. I haven't had the energy on the weekends to create fun, exciting makeup looks to photograph, so most of the time if I feel like my makeup look is just pretty boring, run-of-the-mill, I don't bother taking a picture of it. So that is the explanation for the lack of photos to share with you right now, but I do have 2. I went through all of my photos and found at least 2 to share with you. So let's talk about them right now. Here's the first look I wanted to talk about. This one is really pretty actually. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, dang Jess, you did that. I kind of forgot that I wore makeup like this once upon a time. So this is a really beautiful look that I used creating Precious. You can really see Precious worked into the outer part of the crease here and probably throughout the crease as well, but really added a lot of depth in the outer corner. And then that shimmer all over my eyelid is Northern Lights, which is also so pretty and beautiful in this look. I think it paired really nicely with that shade, Precious. And then I would not be surprised if 10 out of 10 is in this look as well, maybe on the inner part of the lid. I'm not 100% sure about that one, but overall I just think this cool toned look is very pretty, and I was very happy with how it came out. Okay, this next look is the last look I have to share with you, and it's a very unusual look for me, but a really fun look. I wore this look out to a little rave that I went to. We went and saw Gareth Emery out in San Francisco, and I had to get like full rave mode on. So I have like a little face tattoo on, I have gems on, I have a lot going on. I have like some metallic eyeliner, but I also have eyeshadow in this look, and specifically I have this shade here, 10 out of 10, as like my main silver shade on my lid, which I'm not sure what else I used to incorporate there, but 10 out of 10 is definitely there. And it was just a very fun party, rave, glitter-tastic look, and it was a very similar night. And it definitely fit the mood for that night as well. So we had a great time, we danced, we partied, we lived to tell the tale. So that is my 2 looks. So I hope you enjoyed at least seeing the few that I have. But now for the fun part, I'm going to update you on my pan percentage. I use my Pan Those Eyeshadows videos to track my pan percentage for the year, and ultimately this year I'm trying to hit the goal of 25% pan in my eyeshadow collection. So that means of all of my eyeshadows in my collection, I want to have pan on 25% of them. When I started the year back in January, we had a new fresh number to start with. In January, I had pan on 85 out of my 448 eyeshadow shades, and my pan percentage was 18.97%. Last month, my pan percentage was up to 20.54%. And then in the past 2 months, since March, I have hit 6 additional pans, most of them being in my current Pan That palette, but also 2 of them being in this project that you just saw. So I now have a total of 98 pans out of my 448 eyeshadows, meaning my eyeshadow pan percentage jumped from 20.54% all the way to 21.88%, which is really great. And I am getting very close to 25% very quickly, and I'm feeling very hopeful that I'm gonna hit that 25% goal before the year is up. I think with, well, we got like 4, 8, 12, maybe like 13 more pans this year to hit that pan percentage. And I just know that it's gonna happen. So very exciting to have such a big jump from last month to this month. Well, it's really 2 months ago to this month, so it should be a good jump, but we're getting there, and that means it's time for the best part of the video, which is when I get to bring in some new shades. So we're gonna bring in 2 new eyeshadows that I want to hit pan on, and then 1 eyeshadow that I want to expand pan on. And since I have rolled out one that was random and one that was Lanies prompts, that means we're gonna do 1 of each, and then 1 that I already have pan on for 3 total. So let's get started. So let's start off with that randomly generated shade first. I have all of my eyeshadow pans listed in this app, the Tiny Decisions app, in this wheel, and I always black out the palettes that are already in the project or have just been rolled out of the project, just to keep things fresh and exciting. But anything that's been in the project earlier this year, I unblock that one to, you know, give more possibility for it coming back in. Even though I want to cycle through like all of my collection, I do want to keep it truly random and have a little bit less control there. So let's see what the first eyeshadow palette, not pan, palette, is that's coming in. Hopefully something new. Okay, fun, the ColourPop The Child palette. I love that palette. It's probably my second favorite ColourPop palette that I have in my collection. So we're gonna randomly generate a shade from that one. And here is the Child palette from the Star Wars Mandalorian collection. I love the color story in here, and I already have quite a few pans going. Well, I have 2, I should say. Here's what the palette is looking like right now. So of the 9 shades in here, I have pan on 2 of them, so 7 of them are eligible to be rolled in. And it's very appropriate that this palette comes in right now because I am obsessed with watching Andor this season. That show is so good. I love the more adult Star Wars content that's been coming out. I feel like they've had a lot of like really childish, juvenile type content, which is great, you know, great for that demographic, but just not really for me. So I'm excited to work on this and really channel my Star Wars love along with my love for Andor. Okay, so I've got the numbers 1 through 7 on my random number generator, and let's see what number is gonna come in to my project. Number 1. Okay, fun. That is the first shade in the palette, and it's gonna be a really easy shade and a really beautiful shade. The shade is called Precious Cargo. And it looks like a white shade, but it has like a really pretty green shift. Let's get a swatch for you. So there it is in the swatch, and as you can see, it is not white at all. In fact, it has a really pretty gold shift to it, a greenish gold, I'll give it that, but very, very pretty dimensional shade. It's gonna be so easy to reach for, so fun to reach into, and I'm very happy with this randomly generated shade. So that is the first shade, yay, I'm super stoked. And now let's bring in our next shade, which is going to be one from Makeup by Lanies prompts. So I have my prompts all here. Oh my gosh, I swear I keep setting this wheel so that I don't have any re-rolls, but if I do happen to get a re-roll, I'll just roll it again from, I don't want to repeat any of the prompts this year. And I have on a setting here that there should be no re-rolls, but every time I go into here, there's nothing blacked out. So repeat options is on. I'm turning it off. Whatever. I know what it says, or I know what I've rolled, so there it is. All right, the prompt is going to be, see, it says shadow from your least favorite palette. I just did that, so we're gonna keep rolling. Of all the 100 prompts, that's the one it brings out. A shadow you want to pan. I want to say I've rolled that one too. Let me check my notes here. Maybe I did that last year, not this year. Okay, I at least have not pulled that prompt this year, so hopefully it will not bring it up again throughout the next year. I'm hoping it will black that one out. I'm gonna black it out right now, maybe not. There. Okay, so it's blacked out. I can't re-roll it, but I do have a shadow that I want to pan, or at least I have an eyeshadow palette that I want to hit pan on. So I love to have a pan on each and every single one of my eyeshadow palettes, but there is one in my collection right now that is yet to have a pan on it, and it is one of my newer palettes in my collection. This is the Lorac Pro Palette Artist Edition in the color story Marikai. I think I'm saying that right. And this palette was sent to me from a subscriber who decluttered it, and I absolutely love the Lorac formula, and I had panned a Lorac palette, so they were very generous to share this with me when they were not really loving it in their collection. So here is the Marikai palette right now. It's pretty untouched. This shadow right here is one that she had frankened together. I don't know what it looked like originally, but there are no pans in here, as you can see, and we are going to remedy that problem in this project very soon. So I'm just going to randomly generate a shade. I'm going to be at the mercy of the panning gods. So we have 25 shades in here, so that means I'm going to randomly generate the number 1 through 25. Okay, my app is being strange right now. It's like frozen on 1 through 7, so I'm going to ask Siri to generate a number 1 through 25. Hey Siri, will you randomly generate a number between 1 and 25 for me? Guess what number she generated? 7. Okay, is that random or is she listening to me? I have my suspicions. Well, I was secretly hoping for a shimmer, but I didn't want to jinx myself. And I didn't. I got a shimmer shade. It is this shade right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is like a really, I don't know how to describe it, like peachy champagne shade, which is gonna be perfect with the last shade I just rolled in, and it's also gonna play really nicely with my Pan That palette, which is very convenient. So there it is in the swatch. It is such a beautiful neutral. Look at that shine, look at that shimmer. I am very excited to reach into this palette and start my love story with it. It's such a gorgeous neutral palette, and I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. So that is the second shade coming in this month. And last but not least, it's time to roll in the eyeshadow that already has a pan on it that I'm going to work on expanding. So again, I'm going to use that same eyeshadow palette panning wheel here, and I'll block out that new one that just came in, the Child, and let's see what I'm going to work on. I forgot to record. Well, you can see it here. Oh yay, the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. I have not touched that palette in a long time, so it's about that time. Okay, my camera died again, but we are almost at the end of this video, so we're gonna scrape on by. Here is my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. I have quite a few pans in here. Well, not that many. I have 5 pans in here so far. So I have pan in, I don't know any of the shade names. I have pan in Beam. I have pan in Pooter, in Queen, in Obsessed, and in Cranapple. So I'm going to put in the numbers 1 through 5 and see which one I'm going to work on, and whatever I bring in, it's really not a big deal because it's only a 5-use goal and I can hit that pretty darn easily. So let's see if my thing wants to work today. I'm going to put in the numbers 1 through 5. It's not working, this app. Maybe I need to reinstall it. I don't know what's going on. Hey Siri, will you randomly generate a number between 1 and 5? 4. Okay, so she randomly generated Obsessed. Obsessed is right here. Obsessed is going to be quite similar to the other ones that I've already rolled in, but not too bad. Okay, it's much more of like a lighter champagne shade. So sure, it's similar, but it's different enough for me to excuse rolling it in. There it is in the swatch. Such a pretty highlighting shade. We've got 3 gorgeous shimmers here. It's going to be a walk in the park for this next update, and that is the last shade rolling in. So here is my new color palette for the next month. It is very neutral, very shimmery, very easy. I'm going to have no problem panning these, and I am excited to hopefully have a new pan for you by the next update. I definitely should be rolling out Cocoa Taxi, probably without a pan, but I intend to hit pan on Northern Lights, hopefully, and then, you know, these other ones, we've only just begun, so I'm sure I'll have some good progress to share with you by the next update, but probably not a pan. So that is all for my Pan Those Eyeshadows update this month. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun filming it. Reminder to me how much I love doing these videos and doing these projects. I just need to find the energy to get them done, but something tells me I'm gonna have a little bit more energy in the next several months. that is hopefully what I have to look forward to. So if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a quick thumbs up before you leave. It really does help me out a lot. But I appreciate you all so much just for being here and watching it all the way to the end. You are a real one. I'm sending my love out to you wherever you are in the world that this video finds you, and I hope you're doing well, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. But until then, please take care. Bye.